This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at sorgatronmedia.com. This show is brought to you by IndyWrestling.us. Check out IWC, RWA, and more. And listeners like you, support this show at patreon.com/Wrestling Mayhem Show.
Hungry as fuck, but I ain't starving yet. Chain for the pain, cocktail bar set. Never said I was a gangster or thug, but I'm an animal. Feeding for the taste of the blood.
So I'm here. We're post-show for the Indy Mayhem Show with Laura Loveless on the line here still.
Hello.
So you mentioned on the show proper that you had some stories, and I didn't want to divert the flow of the show to get back around to them, but I think it's very important to kind of talk about that, to kind of relate things as they're going on here. So tell me a little bit, about that experience.
Ooh, okay. I believe I was about maybe a year and a half, 2 years in at this point. I'm not going to name names, and I'm not going to name the promotion. But I will definitely go into detail about the experience itself. I was a part of a main event, and before or right after intermission, I was getting ready and just making sure that my gear looked okay and everything else. I walked past two guys to the area that was our designated dressing area. As I'm walking by, somebody smacks me in the ass hard. And I look over my shoulder and I see one guy that I thought I was cool with, and another guy whom he's a younger kid almost, and his mouth just drops open like he doesn't know what to say. Like he's just like, did that just happen? And so I looked at the other guy, the one I thought I was cool with. He's easily twice my size. I would say even go probably almost like twice and a half. And I'm just staring at him, and I have my fist raised because I was just like, who the hell did that? Because I didn't think it would be this dude. And he looks at me in such a way where it's just like, what are you going to do? And I felt really just, at that point, I'm like, oh shit, I really am alone in this situation. Because this kid standing next to him doesn't know what the hell to do. And I don't blame him. He was just as shocked as I was. And because it wasn't like he was laughing or anything. It was just a really weird, uncomfortable, stupid thing to do. And I kind of played it off because I'm just like, you're lucky it's you. And I'm just like, and this is right before I had to go out. The match was garbage. I mean, it probably would have been garbage anyway, to be honest. But the match was garbage. But having to kind of stow that in the back of my head and just kind of like forget about it, and then go and have this garbage match. And I'm like, in the first 2 years of my, career that I'm trying to desperately build, and it's hard to get out there. And if you have a main event, or if you have a semi-main event that you're in, it's really important that you make that look good. This is your job. So, and then afterwards, I'm just trying to get the fuck out of there. I'm done. I'm packing up my shit. As I'm walking to the back room to get changed, he said, hey, just so you're aware, you really shouldn't wear that gear. It makes you look fat. Okay. And again, I've worked with this guy at a couple of other promotions at a couple different times, out of left field. And I'm just like, he's like, I'm saying that, and he was saying, it makes you look fat. I'm saying this to help you. Motherfucker. No, none of this helps. None of this helps at all. So he's like, I'm just telling you this because, I'm looking out for you. It makes you look fat. You really don't look that way, but the gear's really not helping you work that out. And I said, okay, thanks. And I walked to the back of the room, or to the back to where I'm getting undressed. He knocks on the side of the door, and I'm like, what do you want now? What is it? He's like, oh, and he's something, and he's like, I just want you to know that, I didn't mean what I said before. I consider you like a little sister. And I'm just like, I'm in my drawers. What do you want me to do? This is weird. And now he's like, I don't know if he's close to tears or what the issue is. And I'm just trying to get dressed. And he's like, is it okay? Did I talk to you? I mean, I'll turn my back. I want to make sure you're comfortable. I'm like, this is weird. This has been a span over 2.5 hours and you have become 3 different people. I have to go. I have to get out of here. That was weird. That was weird. And the next day when I got home, after God knows how long of a drive it was to get back, I messaged him. I'm like, A, completely disrespectful, not cool. B, I don't want to know you as a person. C, you knew I had a boyfriend. And you know him. This is all unacceptable behavior. What you did was really gross. I don't want to know you. You're lucky I don't dead name you. And that was it. But for somebody to think that they have that kind of right to treat you that way in any setting. I mean, I come from, wrestling is not the only thing I do. I have a white collar job. If I was to pull that at a white collar job, I would not have a job. Why is it in wrestling there is not at least some kind of baseline of professionalism?
Mm-hmm.
That is something I think that we're going to start see changing very rapidly. There needs to be a baseline of conduct and a baseline of professionalism, especially when it's concerning women. Because I know me, I was able to deal with it fine. If that would have happened to a younger girl, and God forbid he would have taken advantage of her fear and still listened to everything that he had to say, now we see how this behavior is built up. Now we see how these girls get cornered. Now we see how these girls are talked into things that they don't want to do because they're taught to listen to the vet.
Yeah.
So that was one story. Another story was, I had my match at some other place. It was okay, not great, but whatever. Again, I think this was another instance. That was my first 2 years. I was sitting next to these 2 guys, we're just talking, watching the matches. I was asking about, psychology, ring stuff as we were watching the matches. Get paid, go home. On my way home, and again, these guys, I have a boyfriend. This is where I'm from. They know who my boyfriend is. And I start getting messages from this one guy, and I just think, okay, he's just maybe being nice or a little flirtatious. I'm like, yeah, okay, well, I have to go now, whatever. At some point during the messages, he asked me, or he tells me he's a photographer and he would love for me to model for him. And I'm like, yeah, okay. That's a popular one, by the way. And then at some point after, I'm like, yeah, okay, well, I'm set for photographers, but thank you. And I'm trying to be as polite as possible because, again, this is an environment and I don't want to ruin my chances at maybe going back and performing there and having a payday and networking. It's our job. He starts asking me, if I have any photos to send him. And I say, no, dude, I don't have anything to send you. If you want to see some of my photos, there's a bunch on Facebook. And then he goes, would you like to see some photos of me? And I'm driving at this point, and I just put, no, thanks. And he's like, are you sure? And I'm like, pretty sure. Again, this was that promotion's one of their locker room leaders. You can't do that to female talent from out of town.
Yeah.
It really makes your promotion look gross. It really makes me feel like, well, I'm not safe if I try to go there, because forget about the fans trying to, initiate a conversation with me as I walked to my car, which has happened to me a bunch of times before. I've been followed to my car before. Forget even the fans. I have to be worried about the guys in the back that know the kind of car I drive, or, know the city that I live in, or might know a friend of mine that can get, my neighborhood or my address, or God forbid where I work. These are things that I have to think about every time I go into a new environment. And it's why I'm always on my toes about stuff like this. It's why I look at it very much as a work situation. I get to the show early. I work with the girl or the guy before the match if they would like to work with me on some stuff before our match. We have our match. I go over some stuff, and they might go over stuff with me after the match. But after, I get paid, I shake hands with everybody. I say my goodbyes. I say thank you to the promoter. See about any future dates they want me to have, and then I'm out. I don't go out and drink with these guys. I don't go out. I don't linger. I am in and I am out. So I know it's kind of militaristic in that sense, but I'm pretending like I'm being dropped in, like, nom, and I got to get out of there in like 0800. Like, no, done, one and done. Because I don't know these guys. And it's a shame to say it that way, because I've met some really wonderful people and some really awesome promotions that I love working for. Like I said, I love working for OCW. I love working for ICS. A lot of really great people. Those guys I probably would go out with, maybe. Depends on how long the drive is back. But newer promotions, I'm up on my guard, 100%. I'll be professional. I won't be standoffish in any way, but one and done. And if they keep pressing me to go out and drink with them, that's a big red flag for me. And I'm like, nah, I gotta go.
Yeah. It sounds like it's a top down thing, right? Like if the promoter or the higher end, people are having this attitude towards things, then it really is. Yes, it's top down. It's representing, where you got like Marcus and Brandon kind of setting the example there at Rise, right? Versus these other places.
Yeah. And I mean, I have worked for promotions that had my payday ready for me when I got into the door, had a fantastic little match, and got to leave during intermission if I had a plus 4-hour drive back. Holy crap. How wonderfully professional. I got to say hello to everybody, got to talk with the promoter, got to talk with some vets about my work, if they had any pointers for me, any notes. And then I get to go at intermission, and I get to leave during the sunlight, which is never anything that ever happens unless it's like in like a daytime show. Like, that was MPWA. That's another really great promotion. Very, very professional. Now, when I experience that kind of first or second experience with them, that is a place I want to work a lot. That makes it worth it for me. If there's a professional experience all the way around, then that is a place I'm like, you know what? This place is investing into its talent by making sure this is a good atmosphere for them. I want to invest into them.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Laura, thank you for taking a little bit extra time after this. I think this is an entire episode we're just going to put out next week anyways, since we got holiday scheduling and everything. Again, since we are going to turn this into an extra episode, I believe, Laura, tell the people where they can reach out to you on social media.
Oh, crap. Hang on. I dropped my phone.
I think it was real Laura Loveless.
It's for Twitter, it's at Laura_Loveless.
Okay.
For Instagram, this one's so long. For Instagram, it's the_real_Laura_Loveless. And for Facebook, just look up Laura Loveless. You'll find me.
Yep. Thank you so much. And again, everybody tuning in. Again, if you caught this one, Laura was on our panel talking about kind of having safer locker rooms with Marcus Mann and Tyler Klein. So please go check that out earlier in the feed as well. And until next time, please take care of each other out there and support Indy Wrestling. This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at sorgatronmedia.com.